Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I wanted to come on here today to do another tag. This time this tag is a little bit different, but I did want to do this tag because I kind of want you guys to kind of get to know me on a little bit more of a different level of the type of person that I am, or at least some of my experiences that I wanted to share. So this tag is called the intuitive tag. Okay. Now, this tag, I first heard of this tag from this lovely Irish couple. They're from Ireland. Their YouTube channel is called Dreaming of Avalon. And I actually came across this tag because I'm doing a lot of research like on crystals. Like I'm trying to learn a lot about crystals and crystal healing and things of that nature and just working with crystals. And so that's what their channel is basically about. They talk a lot about crystals, so if you want to learn a lot about crystals, go check out their channel. But anyway, that's how I came across this tag, was basically through watching their YouTube videos about crystals. And they had done this video, and this was a couple of months ago. It was called the intuitive tag, and I watched it and I was just so intrigued by it. I was just like, oh my God, I want to do this tag. But I decided, I was like, listen, I have to get this tag done because I want to do this tag. This tag is so much fun. I have watched so many different people's videos who have actually done this tag, and I was just really impressed by a lot of the different answers that people said on this one. So if you get a chance and you want to go and check out this tag, if you're into this kind of thing, definitely go and check out other people's videos. Just do a search. So Lyn and Sean is the name of the lovely Irish couple. They have such a beautiful energy. I love them so much. They are just so great. I love their channel. So go and check them out. I'll leave a link below for their channel. So anyway, let me get started with this tab because there are 15 questions and I don't want this video to be like 3 hours long. Okay? Okay, so the first question is, share your first paranormal experience that comes to mind. Okay, this particular, I have had many paranormal experiences. I usually have things happen like pretty much so every day, things that I just can't explain. But as a child, not so much. But this is one particular incident that occurred. To this day, I have not forgotten it, and I can see it very clearly still in my mind. And at this particular time, I was 5 years old, and I remember I was in the living room, you know, in my parents' house, and my uncle was over visiting us, and we were he was actually asleep on the floor. And I hadn't gone to sleep yet, but the room was dark. And it's either I woke up or I was about to fall asleep or I just wasn't sleeping. You know how kids sometimes they take, oh, lay down, go to sleep. I don't think I obviously was not asleep because this was not a dream. I just remembered being able to see these tiny little beings. They were very tiny. They were fairies. That's what I saw as a child. But there were many of them. They were in my living room, in my home. And this is the only time that I physically remember being able to see fairies like this. And they were glowing. The way I can describe them best is that they were probably like about this big, and they had this like, they were in different colors, but they had like this little round, like it looked almost kind of like a glass ball. I don't know, I can't really describe it. I don't know if maybe what I was seeing was just like the halo of light coming off of their little bodies. I'm not really sure. Maybe it was the speed of their wings. I'm not sure. I just remember I was extremely fascinated with them. I was just like, you know, like so excited. And I was gonna wake up my uncle, but I don't know, I think something told me not to. I don't know if they were like communicating with me, telling, you know, me not to. And I don't know what really happened at that point. I just remember I clearly saw. It was maybe 15 or 20 of them in the room with me. And they were just flying all over the place, just everywhere. And I wasn't scared at all, but I just remember I was just extremely fascinated with their very tiny little bodies. And they just had like this, it was like a glow around them. It's like this little tiny ball. It looked like a little tiny ball. This is like the best way I can describe it. But that is the most unique thing I have ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen anything that unique. But that's what I saw. The other thing that I wanted to mention too that comes to my mind, and I probably shouldn't even really talk about this because I don't want to make this video very long. There was a time, an incident that occurred. I would say I was probably like about 9 years old. I remember my friend came over to me and she came over to my house and she was like, come quick. She was like, I want to show you something. And I remember at the time, I was living in Atlanta. And there was like this wooded area that was like right by my, home. So what we had to do was, I left the house. Of course, I went with my friend. We walked through these woods, and then we came to this area. It was like another subdivision, and it was like I could kind of say it's more like an alley, so to speak, but it wasn't like with like high-rise buildings or anything like that. It was just houses. But I guess it was like I think the road, or like the area that you walk through, it was like people's houses were between this, but they were like gated. So it was like a section that you would walk through to get there. And so we got up to this section of this little alleyway that was between these houses here in the subdivision. And she was like, watch this. So she took a stick and she hit nothing, but the stick bounced off of something. And I remember just specifically hearing like this clanking noise. It sounded like it hit metal, but there was absolutely nothing there. For the life of me, to this freaking day, I cannot explain that. But to me, that was just like, holy crap, what is here? Like, what is here that I'm not seeing, but it's here? Because she just took it. I was just like so freaked out. I didn't even want to try to touch it or anything. I was just like, I'm out of here. I'm telling you, that kind of freaked me out. But I'm telling you, she took this stick and she hit it, and the stick bounced off, and it made like, you could hear, it sounded like it was hitting metal. It was like a clank, like a clanking noise. Like if you took a stick and you tried to hit like some metal object, but it sounded kind of hollow, like, I don't know. That was just weird. I remember that, and that was another like a paranormal experience. I cannot explain it because there was nothing in front of us, visibly that I could see. Nothing was there, and to this day, I can't explain it. So anyway, because I don't want this video to be too long, moving on to the next question. Number 2 is, have you ever had a premonition? Yes. I don't get them very often, but a lot of my dreams can be premonitions. I would have to say the very first one that I had basically was with my children while I was pregnant with them, both of them. I just knew the sex of my children before they were born. I knew their gender. My son, I just knew what he was. I had a dream that I was having a boy, and it was definitely, clarified by, of course, a sonogram. The same thing happened with my daughter. I remember one day I had made an appointment. I was supposed to be going the very next day to have my sonogram, and I could, find out the sex of my baby, of my daughter. So that night, the night before, I had a dream that I was having a girl. And I remember I was like at the doctor's office, and they were giving me like all this pink stuff, and they were telling me, oh, congratulations, you're gonna have a girl, and this, that, and the other. And so the next day when I went and had the sonogram done, they told me you're having a girl. So I always knew that my children were, I was very connected to their energy, and I just could feel them. So the next premonition that I had that was very, very, just one that I remember very, very well was, this was a couple of years after, the birth of my daughter. I had, had a pregnancy, and I had a miscarriage. But before the miscarriage happened, I had a dream maybe about a week or two before. I can't remember exactly, but I remember it was very, very close to the time right before the actual miscarriage took place. So what happened in the dream was is that, and I know this sounds a little bit graphic, but my stomach got so big that it ripped open like at the bottom, and I could just see, like, I didn't see like blood, but I could see like the feet of my babies. And I just remember I was at that, you know, in the dream I was pregnant with twins, and I was trying to hold my babies in. I was trying to hold my babies in. And I remember I was, you know, running in the hospital, and I was telling the nurses, the doctors, I was like, please help me, help my babies. And and then I woke up. But maybe like a week or two later, I had a miscarriage. So that was definitely a premonition. Okay, so moving on to number 3. When did you get your first tarot or oracle deck? And what deck was it? Okay, I got my first tarot deck, I would say probably like about 2000. Yeah, 2000. I got my first tarot deck, and I believe that deck was called the Witch's Tarot. There was something, you know, I'm not a witch. I'm not into that kind of thing. That's kind of not my thing. You know, just to say that I'm not against anybody who is. If that's what you do, you know, God bless you, do what you want. But this deck just spoke to me. I like the colors in it. And I'll try to insert a picture somewhere in here so you can see what it looks like. But there's something about this deck that just kind of drew me into it. The other one that I did get was also because I wanted to try to learn how to read the cards better, was the basic universal deck, which is the Universal Rider, I think it's called Rider-Waite deck. That was another one that I got, but the very first one I believe was the Witch's Tarot deck. So like I said, I'll put a picture in there somewhere so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, number 4 is, what element do you connect with the most? Definitely water. I'm a Cancer, and that is a water sign. I love the water. It's just something about the water that I just find extremely therapeutic for my soul. I love it. I love water. Water just cleanses me in some way. It's just the ions coming off from the water. It's just very cleansing and just a therapeutic effect on me. Okay, number 5 is, do you believe in fairies? I pretty much so answered that. Yes, I do. And I have had some other dreams. I dreamt about fairies, you know, like the elementals. I had some dreams about them, but I haven't experienced anything else where I was able to see them. Okay, number 6 is, do you prefer the sun or the moon? I'm a moon child. I'm a Cancer. I'm ruled by the moon. I love the moon. When I see a full moon, I just feel very affected by it. I love the moon. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the sun. But I prefer the moon. I love the moon. I'm a moon child. Okay, number 7 is, what is your favorite crystal or stone? Now, again, like I said, I had talked before, I was telling you that I am, you know, trying to learn a little bit more about crystals and working with them. But the one that draws me to it the most, I have to say right now, is amethyst. And I remember the other day I saw this guy in the subway on the train, and I just had to stop him. I was like, he had this beautiful amethyst on his neck. It was so gorgeous. I was just like, oh my God, where did you get that from? And he told me about this place in the city in Manhattan on 14th Street. So I have to go and check that out. But anyway, the crystal that I'm most like attracted to, I'd have to say, is amethyst. I just love the amethyst. I also like clear quartz. There's something about clear quartz too that kind of draws me to it. I don't know. I kind of like that crystal a lot. So those two I would have to say, but I would have to say probably number 1 would be definitely amethyst. Okay, number 8 is, can you see spirits or spiritual beings? Yes. I have to say, my first experience with that, and this isn't really a question, but I just kind of want to tell you about my first experience that I had where I was able to see, and I believe that these two beings that I saw were human spirits. I really believe that they were just ghosts, but they appeared solid. They did not look like an apparition, you know, where they appear transparent. They weren't like that. I was on 42nd Street in Manhattan. This probably occurred like around the year 2000. And at this time, they had this place, if you guys might know, if anybody who lives in New York City, you may know of this place. It's where the Applebee's is right now. They had this internet cafe that used to be there where you had access to like all these different computers in there. And sometimes I would go in there and, you know, like kind of not like after work, but I would go there, and because I didn't work too far from there, and I would go and just hang out in there just to not really go home. And I remember I went into the ladies' bathroom this one particular day, and I may not have even really noticed them, except I was getting like, I felt this really weird feeling. But let me tell you, so I had used the facilities and I was washing my hands and da 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 da, and I just saw these two. There were other people in the bathroom, but I saw these two women and they just looked weird. They weren't like in like period clothing, something like from way back then. They looked pretty, you know, I would say recent clothing. It wasn't like it was something out of the ordinary. But what drew my attention to these two women is I could not look at them in the eye. There was something about them. It looked like they were boring holes into me. Like they were staring at me so hard. I couldn't look at them. But they were standing off to the side. And women just don't do that. You don't go, there was no waiting line to get to the restroom or anything like that. But these two ladies were standing, they were standing side by side of each other. And they were just standing there and they were staring at me. And I had to walk past walk past them to get out the bathroom. I could not look at them. I just couldn't. They scared me. There was just something about those two women that freaked me out, because they were just standing there. And women don't just go in the bathroom and just stand to the side and stare at other people. Like, who does that? Okay, I know this is Times Square, but I knew that they weren't. I just knew they were spirits. I just knew it. I felt it. I felt the energy coming from them. So that was like my first experience of being able to see like ghosts, like a spirit person. Sometimes I have seen shadows a little bit. I don't see them very often, but mostly like from spirit beings or, you know, angelic beings, beings that have never lived as humans. I usually see like flashes of light, very little tiny white balls of light. Sometimes I see them in different colors. I've seen them in blue and purple, you know, other different colors. I've seen red. I see that, but mostly I see white. I see like a white kind of like color. And that's what I usually see. I see them around me all the time, these little, you know, flashes of light. I see them everywhere. And I have been seeing these for years. I mean, years. I think I started seeing it like years and years ago. So that's basically what I see. But I can also see beings around me. I can see the angels that are around me. I could see them clairvoyantly. I don't necessarily see them like solid figures around me, but I could see my angelic team. I can see them around me, but through my third eye, through, you know, clairvoyancy, being able to see them that way. Okay, so not to make this too long, moving on. Number 9 is, would you rather be able to fly on a broomstick, breathe underwater, make things grow fast, or control fire? This one I had to think about. Let's see. I don't know. I guess I would have to say maybe control fire. Fire kind of scares me. There's just something about fire that it's a very powerful element. It just, it's scary. And I guess if, because fire is very strong, it spreads very, very fast. And I could probably save a lot of people's lives if I could control fire in that way. So I'd have to say control fire. Okay, number 10 is, what is the animal totem that you feel most connected with or connected to? Right now, I'd have to say is the lion. For some reason, not so much domestic cats, although I love all animals. I'm a huge animal lover. But there's something about the lion right now that I am feeling very connected to. And I would have to say, like all big cats, I feel an extreme connection to them. But most specifically right now, I'd have to say is the lion. So I kind of need to look at that because apparently that has something to do with my spiritual growth and as to where I'm at right now in life. So I kind of need to do a little bit of studying and research on that. Okay, number 11 is, what was your first animal spirit totem? The cheetah. As a child, I was obsessed with that cat. Every time I could do a book report on that cat, I tried to do a book report. I did so many book reports on the cheetah, it was crazy. I was obsessed, so obsessed. And to this day, I still love it. There's just something about the cheetah that I love. I love big cats. So the cheetah would be my first. Number 12 is, tell us about your first spirit guide. I did not meet my first spirit guide, I would say probably till I would have to say it was several years ago. I'd say probably about 2009, I'd say about 2009, 2010. My first spirit guide, her name was Willow, that I am consciously aware of. I was able to connect with her while meditating, and I could also hear her when she's talking to me. I can clairaudiently hear her. She is not my spirit guide right now. Currently, I do not have a spirit guide that I'm aware of. I have meditated on it, and I don't have a spirit guide assigned to me at this present moment. I just don't. I do have angelic beings around me, very powerful angelic beings with me. I do have a guardian angel, and I also have a few archangels that are with me, as well as a couple of ascended masters. But my first spirit guide that I know of, and I can still see her very clearly, is her name was Willow. And she was very helpful for me. She really helped me through some extremely difficult times, some very difficult situations, and I'm extremely grateful for her help. Okay, number 13 is, do you feel more connected to the stars or Earth? I know I'm a star person. I feel more connected to the stars. I definitely feel more connected to the stars. Okay, number 14 is, what is your preferred method of blessing or cleansing? Now, I know that a lot of people do use sage as a method to cleanse their environment, of dark negative energy or any type of negative energy. I personally have never used that. I would like to try to use it in the future, but I don't know if I'm really going to like that method. The method that I mainly use is, I always use Archangel Michael. Anytime that I want anything, especially when I'm trying to clear myself as an empath, I have to constantly keep clearing my energy. Other than that, I feel like I have a ton of bricks on my chest because I have absorbed so much energy. I try to do a lot of meditations where I envision light around me so that I'm not absorbing so much. And I also ask him to help to, shield me from, absorbing this energy. But if I need to clear my home, if I need to clear anything, if I need to clear me, I ask him. He is the method that I use. I use Archangel Michael to help me. I'm extremely connected with him. I have a very close connection with him, and I use him to help me. And he helps me. Oh my gosh, I would be an absolute mess if it was not for Archangel Michael helping to keep me clear of energy. because I absorb so much. This is New York City. There's a lot of dark, negative, heavy energy here. And when I go out through my day, I end up absorbing a lot, and I feel so tightly wound up. I feel like the energy is wrapped around me, and I have to use him. I ask him to help clear me of the energy. And I learned a lot of these methods. So grateful to her work, and that is through Doreen Virtue. If it was not for Doreen Virtue, I don't think I'd have the connection that I have right now with the angelic realm. I'm just extremely grateful for her work because she really helped me to connect with these beings and these angelic beings who are here to help us. So that's the method that I use. Okay, number 15, the last question is, what color do you feel most spiritually connected to? I was going to say purple, but I don't think that's the color that I really feel most connected to. I guess silver really is not, I guess, a color, but spiritually I would have to say silver. There's something about silver that it feels very regal. It's just, there's something about it. It's very light. It's etheric. I don't know. It's silver. I love silver. I love it. So that would have to be the color. It's almost pretty much so colorless, but I love that color. It's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful to me. So that is it. If you feel that you want to do this and you make YouTube videos, go right on ahead. Nobody tagged me, but like I said, I saw this lovely YouTube couple, Dreaming of Avalon. I saw Lyn and Sean's video, and they just tagged anybody who felt free to do it, so I did it. I'm tagging anybody who feels free that you make YouTube videos and you want to do this tag. Please do this tag. Let me know so I can watch it. I'm telling you, this tag is so much fun. Very interesting. I just learned so much from so many people, and just, you know, watching their videos and just hearing their answers, I just realized how different we are, even as, you know, intuitives, people who have more of a highly developed assessed intuition. We all have different experiences, and I just really love to hear people's different stories. Very interesting to me. So again, if you feel like doing this tag, I'll leave the questions below in the description box. Feel free to do it. I will be also leaving some links below for some of my favorite charities. Make sure you check that out as well. And please thumbs up this video if you like this video. And I will be seeing you guys in the next video. I love you guys so much. Infinite love and gratitude.